So you've been thinking about starting a plant-based diet. Maybe you've seen a Netflix show or read about the health benefits. Maybe your doctor suggested eating more plants, or others' transformations maybe inspired you. Now you're ready to act. But the questions pile up. How do I start? What do I eat? How do I get protein? Will this be expensive? And the biggest question of all, do I have to give up meat and all of my favorite foods? Let me answer that last one right away. No, you don't. You don't have to give up everything right now. We're just beginning. You can decide on that later if you choose to. Also, I am not here to preach perfection or make you feel like you're joining an exclusive club where one slip up means you've failed and you don't belong. Instead, I focus on what actually works in real life: simplicity, flexibility, and building habits that last. I'm not here to force you to go fully plant-based. My goal is to give you the knowledge, options, and tools to create the version of a plant-based diet that makes sense for your life. This crash course will help you start your plant-based journey with confidence. No guilt trips, no complicated rules. Here's what we'll cover: what a plant-based diet is. Then we'll tackle common myths. We will dive into the mindset you need for long-term success, like the dial method, to help you stay consistent. I'll introduce you to the different approaches to plant-based eating, from Mediterranean to vegan, so you can pick the one that works best for you. I'll share a simple 3-week transition plan that makes adopting this lifestyle easy. We'll discuss common mistakes beginners make and how to avoid them. You will learn how to troubleshoot real-life challenges like cravings, social situations, or unsupportive friends. And finally, I'll give you a list of practical tools, apps, and resources to make this journey easier and more enjoyable. My name is Grazelle. I'm a diplomate of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine and a plant-based nutrition graduate from Cornell. I'm also a doctor of physical therapy and a certified nutritional physical therapist. When I was 18, I had thyroid cancer that spread to my lungs. I lived with it for the next 12 years of my life. With medical care and a healthy lifestyle, I put my cancer into remission in 2023. Among the healthy lifestyle habits that I strive to practice, plant-based nutrition was the last thing I added, and it made a whole lot of difference. For 2.5 years, I lived plant-based, studied the science, and helped others change. If you want the information in this video in Notion or eBook format with links, templates, and sample meal plans, the download link is in the description below, all for free. Timestamps are available, and you can skip around to the parts that matter most to you, or stick with me for the full picture. Either way, let's get started. The term plant-based is thrown around everywhere, but what does it actually mean? Plant-based simply means food that come from plants. Now, when you add the word diet or lifestyle to it, it becomes an umbrella term or theme. There are many kinds and different ways to do it. Like exercise, there are so many ways to do it. However you want to do a plant-based diet, make it a healthy one. The World Health Organization provides a foundational perspective on healthy eating that aligns closely with plant-based principles. A dietary pattern that is high in fruits, vegetables, legumes, nuts, and whole grains, and low in salt, added sugars, saturated fats, and trans fats. Harvard School of Public Health takes it a step further. They describe a healthy plant-based diet as one that maximizes whole plant foods while minimizing processed foods, even plant-based ones. Yes, Oreos and soda are technically plant-based, but they are not exactly what we're aiming for here. Not all plant-based diets are created equal. People who ate mostly whole plant foods, things like vegetables, fruits, whole grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds, they show the best health outcomes. But those who ate mostly ultra-processed plant foods like soda and chips didn't see the same benefits. Therefore, we want not just a plant-based diet, but a healthy plant-based diet. More details about the health benefits of this lifestyle are in the free ebook and Notion template. When it comes to plant-based eating, there's no shortage of myths floating around. Here are 3 of the most common myths about plant-based diets. Myth 1, you will be protein deficient. But where do you get your protein? It's the question that never dies. Protein is abundant in the plant world. Every whole plant food contains a combination of the 20 amino acids that we need to survive and thrive. Certain plant foods like beans, lentils, tofu, tempeh, quinoa, edamame, nuts and seeds contain more protein than others. Most people in developed countries are already eating more protein than they need. You don't need to complete proteins in one meal either. Your body combines amino acids from different foods throughout the day. As long as you eat enough and incorporate a variety of plant-based foods, you are going to meet your protein needs effortlessly. Besides, replacing just 3% of the energy you get from animal protein with plant protein is associated with a 5% lower risk of death from all causes. Myth 2. Plant-based diets are expensive. Nope. In fact, it's often the opposite. Let's break it down. Staples like rice, beans, oats, lentils, and vegetables are some of the cheapest foods you can buy. Compare 1 pound of black beans, around $2, to 1 pound of steak, easily $10 or more. Fancy plant-based substitutes or superfoods can get pricey, but they are not required. Focus on the whole foods, shop in bulk, buy seasonal produce, and use frozen fruits and vegetables to save even more. With smart planning, plant-based eating doesn't have to cost a fortune. In fact, I spend less on groceries after making the switch. Myth 3. Plant-based diets are bland and uninteresting. If that's what you think, you've been misinformed. Plant-based meals are anything but boring. You can even have the entire world of cuisines to explore. Indian curries, Mediterranean dishes, Thai stir-fries, and more. Spices and herbs are your best friends. Ingredients like garlic, ginger, turmeric, cumin, smoked paprika, and fresh basil can transform simple ingredients into incredibly flavorful meals. The switch to plant-based eating often introduces people to new flavors they've never tried before. Food becomes exciting again. Knowing what plant-based means and debunking the myths is just the start. To truly succeed, you need more than nutritional knowledge. You need the right mindset. Here's a question. How many diets have you tried before, and how many of them stuck? See, most people approach dietary changes like a switch, on and off. To them, it's something temporary, something to endure until they reach their goal. Think about how you brush your teeth. You don't start a 30-day toothbrushing challenge or feel guilty when you miss one session or quit brushing because you missed a day. You just brush your teeth. It's not a decision, it's not a challenge, it's just something you do because that is who you are. And now I'm assuming that my viewers do brush their teeth. This is how we need to think about eating plants. Most people approach dietary changes like a project with a start and end date. Temporary changes lead to temporary results. Stop seeing this as a diet. Actually, start seeing it as a lifestyle. Not just following rules only for a few weeks or months, but gradually building habits that become as natural as brushing your teeth. Before we go any further, let me share something personal. When people ask me how I've maintained this plant-based lifestyle this long, they expect me to talk about willpower and discipline. But the truth is, it's about my why, my deepest reason for making this change. In a research about dietary adherence, they found that people who connected their food choices to deeper values, like health, family, religion, or environmental impact, were more likely to maintain their changes long-term. Your intentions matter a lot. Your why needs to be deeper than fitting old jeans, looking good for the summer, or because everybody is doing it. Those goals aren't strong enough to sustain you through challenges. Find your why. Make it bigger than your excuses. Make it bigger than your challenges. Take a moment right now. Grab that notebook. Write down your why. Then ask yourself why 5 more times. Keep digging until you hit something that makes your chest tight, something that moves you emotionally. After finding your deepest why, link it to your identity. For example, I'm someone who takes care of my body rather than just I'm on a diet. I deep dive more on how different intentions affect dietary adherence in this video. The biggest mindset killer I see is the all or nothing thinking. It looks like this. I ate fried chicken. I've ruined everything. If I can do it perfectly, why bother? Sound familiar? When most people hear plant-based, they think it's all or nothing, black or white, success or failure. Either you're eating kale every day or you're doing it wrong. This mindset is why most people fail. They set impossible standards of perfection, then beat themselves up for being human. They create a cycle of restriction, failure, guilt, and giving up. Someone has an off meal and decides they've failed completely. They give up only to start again next Monday, the next month, or the next year. Don't let perfection be the enemy of good. Instead of thinking about your food choices as an all or nothing, on and off switch, think of it as a dial you can adjust. I call this the dial method. Some weeks, you might turn it up. Others, you might need to turn it down. Some days, you're at 100% plant-based. Other days, maybe you're at 80. During travel or special occasions, you might drop down to 70. And guess what? That's perfectly okay. The key is keeping your hand on the dial rather than hitting the off switch completely. We're not trying to be perfect. We want to be consistent over time. Start your plant-based journey like how you would adjust a dial. Choose your personal percentage. What's your starting percentage going to be? For example, 75%, meaning most meals plant-based but with some flexibility. Or is it 90%, almost all things plant-based but with occasional exceptions? Or 100%, fully plant-based or plant-exclusive? Is it 80% or 95%? You choose. Is this based on every meal and snack you eat? Will it be on a daily basis, weekly, monthly? Again, you choose. It's just your personal way of estimating your eating pattern. The right percentage is the one you can actually maintain. I started at 75%. Yes, me. I gave myself permission to learn and adjust gradually. Now I have settled my dial between 90 to 100% whole food plant-based. And you know what? That approach worked better than all of my previous attempts at changing my diet. Take a moment now to decide where on the dial feels challenging but doable. This isn't set in stone. You can adjust and learn what works for you. There is no one-size-fits-all when it comes to eating more plants. There isn't just one way to eat plant-based. In fact, thinking there's only one right way is another trap I see people fall into all the time. The beauty of a plant-based lifestyle is that it's a spectrum, a range of approaches you can choose from to fit your lifestyle, preferences, and comfort level. And the best part, you can experiment and make it your own. If you don't like the dial method, here's another way to start eating plant-based. Let me show you what I mean. A plant-predominant lifestyle is exactly what it sounds like. It is centered around plants, but doesn't necessarily exclude all animal products entirely. Like the dial method, some approaches allow more flexibility than others. On the other end of the spectrum are plant-exclusive diets, which means 100% no animal foods whatsoever. From the Mediterranean diet to pescatarian, vegetarian, and vegan lifestyles, there's a wide array of options to explore. You don't have to jump straight to one extreme. What matters is finding a variation that feels sustainable and aligns with your goals. Let's break down how these different approaches fit into the plant-based spectrum. If you're looking for an easy starting point, the Mediterranean diet is perfect. It is the most researched diet out there, known for its emphasis on health, balance, and flexibility. At its core, it's built on whole grains, legumes, nuts, seeds, fruits, and vegetables. It includes moderate amounts of fish, limits red meat and poultry. Dairy products are included, but fermented options like yogurt are favored. Why does this work as an entry point? Because it doesn't require giving up all animal products entirely. You get the health benefits of a plant-predominant diet while still incorporating familiar foods like fish, eggs, dairy in moderation. Think of the pescatarian diet as taking one step further. It eliminates meat but retains fish as the primary source of animal protein. This gives you access to essential nutrients like omega-3 fatty acids and iodine, which can sometimes be harder to get on a fully plant-based diet. What's great about the pescatarian approach is that it keeps things simple. You're still enjoying plant-based meals the majority of the time, but you've got the nutritional and flavor variety of seafood to complement your plate. This approach is ideal for anyone who isn't ready to give up all animal products, but just wants to transition closer to plants. When you shift to a vegetarian diet, you're removing all meat and fish from your meals. However, many vegetarians include eggs and dairy depending on personal preferences. This allows for a variety of options while still keeping the primary focus on plant-based foods. The vegetarian approach can be great for people who are ready to commit to mostly plant-based lifestyle but still want the flexibility to enjoy foods like cheese or yogurt. What's interesting is that all of these approaches share common characteristics that make them health-promoting based on the World Health Organization's definition of what a healthy diet is. Low in saturated fats, which helps improve cholesterol levels, specifically lowering ApoB and reduces the risk of chronic diseases. They are rich in unsaturated fats. Polyunsaturated fats from nuts, seeds, and fatty fish help support heart and brain health. These diets are high in fiber, which promotes gut health, stabilizes blood sugar, and keeps you full. They are also plant protein focused. Prioritizing foods like lentils, beans, tofu, and tempeh provides plenty of protein and essential nutrients. They are also low in ultra-processed foods. Minimizing them reduces the intake of added sugars, sodium, and unhealthy fats. At the far end of the spectrum is the vegan diet, which eliminates all animal products, including dairy, eggs, and even honey. This approach offers the maximum health benefits of a plant-based diet, increased fiber, antioxidants, and plant protein. But it does require more planning and even supplementation to ensure that you're meeting all of your nutritional needs. But with the right strategy, this approach can be incredibly rewarding, both for your health and the planet. For beginners, I would say this is the most challenging one to start with. Most of the vegans I know did not start vegan. They started vegetarian for months, some even years, before transitioning to 100% plant-based. Again, it is your choice, and there are many other types of plant-based diets I didn't include here. But no matter where you start on the spectrum, these approaches will guide you toward a healthier lifestyle. So how do you decide where to start? Again, you do not need to commit to one specific approach forever. It is not a marriage decision. You are allowed to experiment and you are allowed to combine ideas. For example, you could start with a Mediterranean diet and slowly reduce the animal products in your meals. Maybe you try pescatarian meals during the week and vegetarian meals on the weekends. Or you could go fully vegan for breakfast and lunch and keep your dinners flexible. Now, here's where you need to get real with yourself. Your success depends on choosing an approach that fits your current life, not the life you wish you had. Consider these factors. First, your living situation. Do you live alone or with family? If you're cooking for others, their willingness to adapt may influence your choices. 2. Your access to foods. Are plant-based staples like legumes, tofu, or whole grains readily available where you shop? 3. Your social environment. Are your friends and family supportive, or will you face resistance? If the latter, choosing a flexible starting point may feel less overwhelming. The success of your plant-based journey isn't about rigidly following one diet, but finding a variation that you enjoy and can stick with long-term. You can even combine these approaches with the dial mindset from earlier. Start where you are. Turn the dial up or down as needed. Your journey is yours to define. So, what is your entry point? Are you ready to experiment with the Mediterranean diet or maybe test out a few pescatarian meals? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear where you're starting. Because at the end of the day, it's not about where you begin, it's about where you are going. Now, I've shown you some options, and from the different approaches to eating plant-based to mindset strategies like the dial method, but let's be real. Having too many options can be overwhelming. Decision paralysis is a real thing. You might be thinking, where do I even start? Here's what I recommend. After you've chosen your preferred plant-based approach, whether it's Mediterranean, pescatarian, vegetarian, or vegan, and or identified your realistic percentage on the dial, it's time to take actionable steps to get there. That's why I'm sharing my 3-week transition framework. This is the plan that worked for me and my husband, as well as other family members and friends I've been lucky enough to help. It's simple, it's gradual, and it's designed to help set you up for long-term success. Again, these are recommendations, and you can always modify so it fits to your preference. Week 1. Plan and prepare. Let's start with the foundation in week 1. We're not changing what you eat just yet, but we're getting ready for the changes ahead. When my husband and I decided to go plant-based, we didn't do it overnight. We didn't throw out everything in our fridge. Instead, we took a systematic approach. Planning removes the guesswork. It gives you the confidence and clarity. Here's what you'll do for week 1. Do a current state analysis. Take a look at what you're already eating. What meals or snacks do you eat that are naturally plant-based? Make a list of plant-based meals you already enjoy. Maybe you already love oatmeal for breakfast or burrito bowls for dinner. This will show that you already have a starting point. Gather your resources. Find a reliable source to learn from. Start following plant-based recipe creators for inspiration. Begin listening to evidence-based nutrition podcasts or audiobooks. Bookmark them for handy reference. I share my favorites in the resources section and in the free Notion template and ebook that comes with this course. 3. Plan familiar meals. This isn't the week to try complicated new recipes. Instead, plan meals that use ingredients you are already comfortable with. Gather 3 to 5 recipes you're familiar with that you can easily swap the animal protein for plant protein. For example, plan to swap meat for tofu in your stir fry. 4. Build your pantry. Based on the recipes you choose, start stocking up on plant-based essentials that you'll use frequently. Think beans, lentils, tofu, whole grains like quinoa and brown rice, and your favorite spices. Don't forget frozen vegetables and fruits. They're just as nutritious and fresh and often more convenient. 5. Finish what you have. If you still have animal products at home, like meat or eggs, don't feel pressured to throw them out. Use them up during this week while slowly increasing the number of plant-based meals you are making. I personally do not like wasting food. That's why I did my transition this way. This is when I started at 75 whole food plant-based. I filled 1/4 of my plate with what's left of the meat and chicken at home, then filled the rest with whole grains and vegetables. The goal of week 1 is simple. Plan and prepare so you feel confident about what's coming next. While you're in this preparation phase, here's something important to consider. Schedule a checkup with your healthcare provider. Get baseline blood work done if you can. Think of it as taking a before snapshot of your health. This will help track your progress and ensure you're meeting all of your nutritional needs. Some key markers to discuss with your doctor are vitamin B12 levels, iron and ferritin, vitamin D, complete blood count, basic lipid, and metabolic panels. Then, plan to recheck these in about 6 months or so. Many people find it incredibly motivating to see how their numbers improve with a healthy plant-based diet. Plus, it's always smart to have your doctor's support on your wellness journey, especially if you have a medical condition like I did. Week 2. Embrace new foods. This is where the magic starts. Week 2 is all about action. Rather than overhauling your entire diet, Start by replacing just one meal a day with a plant-based option. Here are some examples. If you already eat oatmeal for breakfast, level it up with berries, chia seeds, and almond butter. Swap your lunchtime chicken salad for a hearty Buddha bowl with quinoa, roasted vegetables, chickpeas, and tahini dressing. For dinner, try a plant-based meal that you already love, like black bean tacos. Choose one. Experiment with plant-based proteins. This week is also a great time to explore plant-based protein sources. Try tofu, tempeh, beans, lentils, or even plant-based meat alternatives temporarily if they are available to you. I find that these are good as an alternative when you are just starting to eat plant-based. Now, continue to focus on familiar flavors in new forms. For example, if you already love pasta, try experimenting with a lentil-based sauce. I love Korean food, so I made bibimbap with tofu instead of beef. Don't overcomplicate it. The goal of week 2 is to get comfortable incorporating new plant-based foods into your routine. By week 3, you've started adding plant-based meals to your day. Now it's time to build momentum and create systems to make this sustainable long-term. Here's where we focus on scaling up. First, increase to 2 to 3 plant-based meals a day. Now that you've tried a few plant-based meals, start making them the majority of your day. For example, a breakfast smoothie with spinach, frozen berries, banana, and plant-based protein powder. For lunch, chickpea curry with brown rice. Or for dinner, veggie stir-fry with tofu and quinoa. 2. Start meal prep. You don't have to prep for the entire week if that feels overwhelming. Start small. For example, double the portions of your dinner so you have leftovers for the next day, or batch prep roasted vegetables and cooked grains to assemble quick meals throughout the week. Next, create emergency meals. Life gets busy, and this is where most people slip. Be prepared with quick go-to meals for those hectic days. Here are some examples. A frozen veggie burger with a side salad, canned vegetable soups with whole grain bread, a quick stir-fry using frozen vegetables and tofu. And 4, evaluate and adjust. By the end of this week, take a moment to reflect. What's working well? What's been challenging? Where do you need more support? Don't worry about getting perfect. Remember the dial mindset. If you're at 75% plant-based right now, that's great progress. You can always adjust and optimize as you go. By the end of these 3 weeks, you'll have built a solid foundation. You will know which meals you enjoy, how to stock your kitchen, and how to navigate busy days without resorting to takeout or back to your old habits. This isn't a race. Some people might repeat a week or take longer to transition, and that is okay. You are creating a lifestyle, not just following a temporary plan. Once you start feeling the benefits like more energy, better digestion, clearer skin, you won't want to look back. So, are you ready to get started? Let me know in the comments which week you're most excited about, and let's keep moving forward. If you have made it this far, congratulations. You've got your mindset in place, you've chosen your approach, and you're working through the transition framework. But even with all this preparation, there are common pitfalls that can trip you up. However, these mistakes are completely avoidable once you know what to look out for. I've made these mistakes myself, so let's talk about the top 3 beginner mistakes and how to avoid them. Mistake number 1, not eating enough calories. This is, hands down, the most common mistake when transitioning to a plant-based diet. And to be fair, it is an easy one to make. Here's why. Plant-based foods are generally less calorie-dense than animal-based foods and junk foods. A 4-ounce chicken breast contains around 200 calories, while the same portion of broccoli has less than 50. If you're simply swapping meat for vegetables without increasing your portions or adding other calorie-dense foods, you might end up cutting your calories drastically without realizing it. What happens then? You might feel hungry all the time, low energy, and tempted to go back to your old habits. This is when people say eating plant-based made them sick. So, how do we avoid this? Focus on calorie-dense whole foods. Focus on foods like avocados, nuts, seeds, nut butters, and whole grains to your meals. For example, top your salad with roasted sweet potatoes and tahini dressing, or sprinkle walnuts on your oatmeal. Watch for hunger cues. If you're feeling hungry shortly after meals, it's a sign you might need to add more calories. Do not fear bigger portions. It's okay to eat more volume when you're eating plants. You will be nourishing your body with low-calorie but nutrient-dense foods. Actually, this is how plant-based gurus market their diet programs as lose weight by eating more. A plant-based diet should leave you feeling satisfied and not depleted. Mistake number 2, not planning ahead and modifying your environment. Let me paint a picture. You start the week excited and motivated. Day 1 goes great and you make a beautiful quinoa bowl for dinner and feel amazing. But by day 3, you're tired and you haven't had the time to grocery shop, and now you're staring into an empty fridge. So you grab a takeout. Sound familiar? This is what happens when you don't plan ahead. But planning isn't just writing a meal plan, but also setting up your environment to make healthy choices easy. There's a term for this: choice architecture. Choice architecture is about designing your environment to make the healthier choice the default choice, and it works. Let me share a quick study with you. Researchers at a hospital cafeteria in Boston rearranged their refrigerators. Originally, the fridges near the checkout only had sodas. But when they added water bottles to those fridges without removing the sodas, water sales increased by 25.8%, and soda sales dropped by 11.4%. What does this tell us? What you see is what you eat. I made fruits and healthy snacks easily accessible in my home. If I wanted junk food or meat, I'd have to go out of my way to get it. So I'm adding extra steps and effort to get them. I can be lazy, so I'd rather eat what's available at home. Make it easy to eat more whole plant foods. How do we apply this to your transition plan? You can organize your environment. Rearrange your kitchen to make healthy options more visible and convenient. Keep fruits and pre-cut veggies at eye level in the fridge. Store nuts and seeds and other healthy snacks in clear containers. You can even place them on the kitchen counter if you want. Place less healthy options like chips or cookies in opaque containers or on higher shelves. Reduce the decision fatigue. Make healthy foods the easier choice and make the less healthy foods the harder choice. Design your environment so it aligns with your goals. When you set yourself up for success, healthy eating becomes effortless. Mistake number 3, not having social support. Here's one that doesn't get talked about enough: the lack of social support. When you decide to eat differently, it can feel isolating, especially if the people around you don't understand or support your choices. Here's what you can do. First, bring people in. If you're making dinner for your household, try cooking plant-based versions of meals that everyone already loves. For example, lentil tacos or mashed potatoes. When the food is delicious, people are less likely to complain. Sometimes, I just don't mention the word healthy or plant-based in front of them. Just say they're lentils, they're potatoes. Second, find your tribe. If you're not getting support at home, find a community that shares your goals, whether it's an online group, a local plant-based meetup, or even just a supported friend. Having people who understand your journey can make a huge difference. Choose communities that align with your goals and values. Some focus on health and others on ethics. So find what resonates with you. You don't have to do this alone. Let's face it, even with the best plan, the right mindset, and a fully stocked kitchen, life happens, challenges come, and that is normal. How you handle them is what makes the difference. For the most part, this is where the dial method comes back into play. Adjust based on your circumstances. Let's go through some common challenges and how to troubleshoot them. Challenge number 1, dealing with unsupportive people. This might be the hardest one to navigate. Maybe your spouse isn't on board. Maybe your family questions every food choice you make. Or maybe a friend at dinner won't stop asking, "But where's your protein?" It's one thing to have differences in opinion, but sometimes people take it further. They challenge you, cross-examine you, or argue about your choices. Why does this happen? Some people just genuinely don't know any better. And there are others who do not want to know because it forces them to question their own habits. But you're not obligated to defend yourself or educate everyone. Most of the time, it's better to keep things simple and diffuse the situation. I learned this from Dr. Doug Lisle, one of the co-authors of The Pleasure Trap. Here are his 4 go-to responses for situations like this. First, incite curiosity. If someone presses you about your choices, say something like, "It seems to be working out for me right now. I'm just trying this out." This makes it clear that you're not making any sweeping judgments. You're simply experimenting with what works for you. 2, use someone with authority. When people question my health, I say, "My doctor says it seems to make sense, and we check my protein once a year," which is true. Bringing up a trusted authority figure usually stops further questioning. 3, acknowledge their perspective. If someone says, "I don't think I could ever do that," respond with, "It's probably not right for everybody." This removes any sense of judgment or pressure while keeping the conversation neutral. And 4, reframe the deficiency argument. When they ask, "But what about your protein?" Focus on the concept of more. For example, "I'm just trying to get more fiber, plant protein, vitamins, and antioxidants." This shifts the focus away from perceived deficiencies and highlights the positive aspects of your choices. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your decisions. These quick responses are just tools to handle curiosity or criticism without feeling defensive or uncomfortable. Challenge number 2, the social situations. The dinner parties, the family gatherings, the work potlucks. Social situations can feel tricky, especially when you're the only one eating plant-based. But they're also manageable if you plan ahead. Here are several ways to handle it. 1, offer to bring a dish to share. This serves 2 purposes. You ensure there's something you can eat, and you introduce others to delicious plant-based food. Who knows? They might even ask you for the recipe. 2, eat before the event. If you're unsure about the food options, have a small meal beforehand if you're not relying on what's served. 3, focus on the company, not the food. Gatherings are about connecting with people. Shift your attention to the conversation and the experience. 4, use the dial mindset. If you're at a family dinner and the only option is a piece of bread and salad with cheese, don't feel guilty about adjusting the dial. It's just one meal. You can return to your regular choices the next day. Challenge number 3, travel and eating out. Traveling and dining out can feel overwhelming when you're eating plant-based. But with a bit of preparation, these situations can actually be fun opportunities to explore new foods. Here's how to troubleshoot. Research ahead of time. Use apps like Happy Cow to find plant-based options near your destination. Many restaurants now have online menus, so you can plan ahead and pick places with plant-friendly selections. 2, learn to modify orders. Don't be afraid to ask for small adjustments. For example, ask if the pasta can be made with marinara instead of cream sauce, or if the burger can be served without the cheese. 3, pack snacks for travel days. Airports and gas stations aren't exactly known for healthy options. Keep some portable snacks like trail mix, fruit or peanut butter packets on hand to get you through the long travel stretches. 4, embrace flexibility. Remember, the dial mindset applies here too. If you find yourself in a situation where your options are limited, lower down your expectations. Focus on doing the best you can and what's available. Challenge number 4, cravings and temptations. Even the most disciplined eaters will face cravings from time to time. It happens to everyone, and it's not a sign of failure. Here's how to manage them. 1. Understand your triggers. Cravings often arise from stress, boredom, or even dehydration. Take a moment to check in with yourself. Are you stressed, tired, thirsty? Addressing the underlying cause can always help. 2. Find plant-based substitutions. Craving ice cream? Try a frozen banana blended with almond milk and a splash of vanilla. Missing cheesy flavors? Nutritional yeast can add a savory, cheesy taste to dishes. 3. Remember your why. Reconnect with your deeper motivation. Is it your health, your family, or your larger values? Reminding yourself of your why can make passing on a craving feel empowering, not restrictive. And 4, adjust the dial. You don't have to fight every craving to the death. If indulging a small treat helps you stay on track long-term, that is okay. Enjoy it and then go back to your plan. When challenges come up, and they will, remember, you're not failing, you are learning. The dial is always there to guide you back on track. Every great journey needs the right tools, and plant-based eating is no different. Think of these tools as your trusty sidekicks that help make this lifestyle not just achievable, but enjoyable. Technology can be a game changer when it comes to making plant-based eating convenient and fun. Here are a few apps that I recommend. The Happy Cow. This app is your best friend when dining out or traveling. It's a guide to vegan and vegetarian restaurants worldwide, and it will help you find plant-friendly spots wherever you are. No more guesswork or driving around aimlessly. 2. The Chronometer app. If you're curious about tracking your nutrients, Chronometer is a great tool. Unlike typical calorie counters, it provides a detailed breakdown of vitamins and minerals, which can be especially helpful in the early days as you learn to balance your meals. Personally, I only tracked my food once after eating plant-based, only to make sure if I was eating enough calories. After that, I don't track my calories or macros at all, and I've never been protein deficient. 3. Dr. Greger's Daily Dozen. Based on Dr. Michael Greger's recommendations, this app encourages you to tick off 12 health-promoting food categories each day. It's a fun way to incorporate variety and ensure that you're getting a broad range of nutrients. The last one is Paprika. I use this to store recipes that I find online and also to collect and save my own recipes. It can always come in handy. Navigating the sea of information can be overwhelming. That's why it's important to have reliable sources you can always count on. Some of my favorites are nutritionfacts.org and nutritionstudies.org. If you like podcasts for listening on the go, check out on the Proof podcast with Simon Hill. On YouTube, I like watching Nutrition Made Simple by Dr. Gil Carvalho and Viva Longevity by Chris McCaskill. For recipes, check out Forks Over Knives and other plant-based creators on YouTube like Plantwise and Simnet Nutrition. Now, you don't need a professional kitchen to prepare delicious plant-based meals, but a few tools can make a world of difference. For example, a good blender. Whether for smoothies, soups, or sauces, a decent blender can transform simple ingredients into creamy, delicious dishes. You don't need to break the bank, just something reliable that can handle a variety of tasks. How about a quality knife set? Investing on a good set of knives can make meal prepping more efficient. A sharp chef's knife can save you time and energy. It will make chopping and dicing a breeze. And lastly, glass storage containers. For meal prepping and storing leftovers, glass containers are durable and keep your food fresh. Plus, they are great for reducing reliance on plastic. Let's take a step back and reflect on how far we've come in this video. You've learned the foundations of plant-based eating, debunked common myths, discovered mindset strategies for success, explored different approaches, and even walked through a 3-week transition plan with troubleshooting strategies. That is a lot to absorb, so let me leave you one simple truth. This is your journey. It is entirely within your control. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to follow someone else's rules. Progress, not perfection. Keep your hand on the dial. Some days, you might feel like you're turning it all the way up to 100%. Other days, you're closer to 70, and that's okay. Keep moving forward, even if it's just a little bit at a time. Now, let's recap your next steps. First, choose your starting point. Decide which plant-based approach feels right for you, whether it's Mediterranean, pescatarian, vegetarian, vegan, or your own unique combination. 2, create your plan of action. Use the 3-week framework to build habits gradually. Third, download the free Notion template or the ebook version of this crash course. Plus, there are links to my favorite resources for science, tips, and recipes. The free ebook also has a sample meal planning template and shopping list. You will find the link in the description below. Oh, and one last thing. Be kind to yourself. This is not a sprint, it's a lifestyle. Every plant-based meal you try, every positive choice you make is a step toward better health and well-being. If this video resonated with you, let me know in the comments. What is your biggest takeaway and your first planned action step? Finally, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more on lifestyle medicine, nutrition, and fitness. I'll see you in the next video.